For a transcript of this episode, training plans, and more, visit marathonsfortherestofus.com. So today's question is, how can I be more consistent with my training during the week? And I think the first step in being consistent with your training is to make sure that you're not trying to do too much. If you're spreading yourself too thin, it's really easy to start to fall behind. And once you start to fall behind, it's really easy to give up. You know, if you say, I'm going to train 5 days a week for this marathon, and then all of a sudden it's Wednesday and you haven't run yet at all, it's really easy to just sort of say, well, forget this week, I'll get back on it next week. And by the same token, if you've got a ton of runs scheduled each week in your marathon training, it's also really easy to say, well, I'll just skip this one because I'll be able to run tomorrow or the next day. And that might be totally fine, but if the goal is consistency, it's going to be much better to commit to fewer days per week and really be deliberate about what they are, what their purpose is, and get motivated to get out there and get them in, knowing how important each run is, rather than just trying to do a whole bunch of training and being inconsistent with it. I think the second step in being consistent with your training is to really be honest with yourself about what kind of training you like to do and what kind of training you don't like to do. Okay, you know, this idea of there's a million ways to skin a cat. You can train for a marathon in all sorts of different ways using all sorts of different principles and techniques and all that sort of stuff. There's no reason why you have to be beating your head against the wall doing things that you don't like to do. So knowing that and scheduling that into your training is a really good way to be more consistent with it, because you're doing things that you like to do. You're going to be much more excited to get out there and do them when they're things that you like to do. Now, along the same lines, I always like to know, what runs are you most likely to skip? For some people, that's the speed workouts, right? Because they're really hard. And for other people, it's the long run because the weekends are always super busy with other stuff going on. And for some people, it's the recovery runs because they don't like to run slowly. And knowing which runs you're most likely to skip allows you to decide, is it even worth bothering to schedule this run? Or, since I know there's a good chance I'm going to skip it anyway, should I just not even put it on the plan? And that'll allow me to be more consistent with the training that I've laid out for myself. Now, once you've got your schedule laid out, and it's a schedule that makes sense for your life and the rest of your schedule, and it makes sense for the things that you like to do, now it's time to call in reinforcements if you're still struggling with consistency. And by reinforcements, I mean other people. So that could be group long runs on the weekends. It could be group speed workouts during the week. It could be, you know, fun runs out of a running store. There's a million opportunities, Facebook groups, meetup groups. If you are having trouble staying consistent, committing to other people and having that accountability can be really important to helping you stay with your training. And again, think about which runs are you most likely to skip. Think about which runs are you less likely to do, or do you like to do the least. Those are the runs where you should be looking for reinforcements. Whether that's long runs, recovery runs, or speed workouts, those are obviously the runs that you need a little extra push to get them in, and having other people that you're doing it with is a great way to do that. So ultimately, I think the key to being more consistent is making sure that you're asking an appropriate amount out of yourself, making sure that you're keeping it fun, and making sure that you're utilizing other people in groups to help you stay accountable to it. And if you follow those 3 steps, I'm pretty confident you're going to be able to stay consistent with the marathon training. I hope that information is helpful. If you have suggestions for future episodes, definitely leave them in the comment section below. And as always, I would love to know what you think about this one as well. Thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you soon.